Parish, right along the Wynne-Jackson line. I want to cross-reference this by the live storm tracker Doppler radar, which has a better view but doesn't have a better view at this storm, because again, we're fighting through some heavy rain, but you can see the artifact that would signify a tornado right here. Again, as I zoom in, I'm going to attempt to zoom in, at least if the computers decide they want to cooperate with me. This is, again, northwestern sections of Caldwell Parish. This is southwestern Ouachita Parish. This is eastern Jackson Parish. This is the parish line. This is our possible tornado. Again, if you are in the path of this storm, this is a very, very, very serious situation, as I continue to kind of look off the screen at Alex's images as well. But a very, very dangerous situation unfolding across portions of southeastern Jackson Parish. We've switched radar modes briefly to kind of try to, in an attempt, as this another really close lightning strike here at the West Monroe Studios. But we've changed the radar mode to hopefully try to survey and pick up some of the stronger winds associated with this area of rotation. So as we zoom in rather closely, you can see again CC Camp Road here. This is the Countrywood Drive area, the Chester Road. In full disclosure, I don't know if these are very popular and well-known roads, or if I'm just throwing out roads that are popping up on a map. So again, if they sound familiar to you, please make sure that you're in your safe place now. If you are in the Zoar community, along and south of Highway 4, the Vixen community and Chester Road and all these areas, if any of this sounds familiar, you need to be in your safe place right now. Not 5 minutes from now, right now. Get to your safe place, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. I know this is a kind of a jumbled up radar screen, and I know I'm zoomed in very, very tightly. And I know it doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you, that is where our possible tornado will be. As we cross-reference it with the Shreveport radar, which will more than likely be a smidge behind, yeah, it has it displaced here. But again, we get radar swipes from the National Weather Service radars every few minutes. We get one with our radar every 60 seconds. So where you see the rotation here versus where you see the rotation here, the storm's moving, and it's obviously constantly moving. So with every radar scan, it's already old information when we're showing it to you, because the storms continue. It doesn't stop between radar scans. So I just want to stress to folks that and as you zoom out, and a lot of folks will look at that now and go, okay, yeah, as you zoom out, it's pretty blatantly obvious what we're looking at. So this will continue to track to the north and east. We run into the scenario today of long track supercells. I'm not saying this is a long track supercell, but we are running into the potential where the environment could support a tornadic threat with a particular storm for an extended period of time. That means that we need to start looking downstream from this storm. If it were to continue to produce a potential tornado all the way through its life cycle with this tornado warning until 7:45, you have to look downstream eventually to the Charmingdale and Richwood communities, and then eventually, possibly, folks in Monroe and eastward. Think, again, we're thinking way downstream of this potential tornado, but for folks in Ouachita Parish, you need to keep an eye on this storm. Southern Ouachita Parish, Bosco, and some of the areas south of the Shinny Drew area and the Brownsville-Balcomville communities. If you're in the southwestern sections of the parish, you got to keep an eye on this storm as the radar will continue to update with a new scan, and still a very vibrant indicator of a possible tornado in this area right here. Again, the active tornado warning to this is the Seven Runs Road area. Here's Sweetwater Road. Again, the Vixen community. State Highway 4 is over here on the top left-hand side of your screen. So again, if this sounds familiar, make sure that you're in your safe place. On top of that, it's 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. A lot of folks are sleeping. Hopefully they were awoken by the EAS alerts, the tornado warning that just went off on a lot of folks' phones in this area. I just want to make sure that folks are aware. Make the phone calls. You can help today. Let folks know that if they're in the path of this storm, that a tornado warning is in effect, and that a tornado could be forming or has potentially already formed. Again, the delay between the National Weather Service radar and what we see. That was another really close lightning strike. And what we're seeing here, that circulation has already started to move now into northwestern sections of Caldwell Parish. So again, lead time, call to action, get to your safe place. Wait for this storm to pass. A quick look at the Shreveport radar, which will have a better reflectivity look. And you can see this is the area right here. This is this little notch, this little hook, whatever you want to call it. And again, that's the National Weather Service radar in Shreveport. We'll switch over to Fort Polk. That's what it looks like in Fort Polk. And then here's what it looks like with our live storm tracker Doppler radar. Again, our radar looks a little different, but still gives you that general area. This is, as I mentioned, the Caldwell-Jackson line. Here's the kind of the triple point between Jackson, Ouachita, and Caldwell parishes. A new tornado warning now also issued for portions of Wynn Parish. This is going to include the town of Winfield. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicating a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado south of Highway 84. This area north of Montgomery, moving to the north and east. So now we have two different tornado warnings, potentially producing two dangerous storms, potentially producing tornadoes. We'll try to keep both of them on the screen for a brief period of time here. But again, northwestern Caldwell Parish, far eastern Jackson Parish, southwestern Ouachita Parish. You should be sheltered. This warning goes for another 5 minutes. I would expect another one to be needed to replace the existing warning. Additionally, new tornado warning. This includes most of the southwestern sections of Wynn Parish. Goes until 8:15 for a possible tornado south of Highway 84. These are our active tornado warnings as it sits right now. Tornado watch in effect till 1. And numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, which we've spent the better part of the last 3 hours talking about. Go ahead, Alex.
They're moving at 50 miles per hour.
Very, very fast moving storms. So again, if you didn't hear Alex, 50 miles an hour on the forward speed of these storms. Cannot stress enough, this is not the day to play around with tornado warnings. It's a very serious situation.
So the time is now currently 7:40 a.m. It could be in Winfield in the next 20 minutes. That's how quickly this system is moving. You have less than 20 minutes to get into your safe place if you are in Winfield with that southwestern storm. And regarding the one off towards the north, that one is still very defined, and so areas off towards the northeast there. Areas along the 165 corridor. Do not drive along that area. If you know anyone near the I-165 corridor and just southeast of Chatham, get into your safe place. We've been saying this a lot. You have had a lot of lead time, but these storms are moving at 50 miles per hour. They're very, very quick. We have a very close lightning strike just nearby, so
yeah, my apologies. That scared the living daylights out of me. In Wynn Parish, again, that tornado warning until 8:15. I've got my radar pulled up. I tell you what, Alex, let's just go ahead and do this way. You take that Wynn Parish storm, and I'll take the Ouachita Parish storm. We'll just make it a little bit easier on all of us. So here's the Ouachita Parish storm, and Alex and I are going to probably bounce back and forth between each other a little bit faster so we don't spend too much time on one particular storm. But here's the active tornado warning. I'll put that warning out for Caldwell and Ouachita parishes. It also includes Jackson Parish. There's our area of concern, our possible tornado. Here is southern sections of Ouachita Parish. So again, this warning is set to expire in 4 minutes. I would expect a new warning to be needed additionally on top of this storm as it continues to crawl into southern sections of Ouachita Parish. Here's Highway 165 to give you a point of reference on where we are in relation to Monroe and West Monroe, which is on the top part of your screen. They're not included in this warning, but it does include areas like Bosco. That is a horrible swipe and a survey from that storm, so we'll have to wait another 60 seconds or so. And while we wait for that, again, a reminder, tornado warning in effect for this area here, moving at far eastern Jackson Parish, far northwestern Caldwell Parish. We'll be moving into southern Ouachita Parish shortly. Back to the Wynn Parish storm, Alex.
So we have the Wynn Parish tornado. It is just north of Wheeling as of this time. So Collier Road, Gum Spring Road, Atlanta, Whitford, all of those locations. It's moving off towards northeast 50 miles per hour. So it's likely going to be in the Whitford and Sardis communities fairly shortly, as well as the Porter Road area. Parish Road 42 is likely also seeing some pretty hefty wind gusts and a lot of rain as of this time, and this is moving off towards northeast. So Winfield, you are in the almost direct path of this. You don't have a lot of time. You have realistically the next 15 minutes to get into your safe place. You should not take all 15 minutes to get there. This is going to pass Highway 84 as it continues on its current trek. Where it is at right now: Parish Road 42, Collier Road, Gum Springs Road, and in Whitford, Atlanta, and just north of the Wheeling communities. If all of those sound familiar to you, make sure that you are in your safe place. I know we've got an update for the northern storm as well, Jared.
Yep, thanks, Alex. As we have our existing tornado warning that's set to expire in 2 minutes, there's going to be a new tornado warning that's going to come out for Ouachita Parish, and it's probably going to include portions of Richwood, Charmingdale, folks along 165. It may include Monroe and points eastward. It may or may not include West Monroe. I'm again preemptively talking about a tornado warning that hasn't been issued, but if I was a betting man, I'd put money on the fact that a tornado warning is about to be issued from here into the southeastern and eastern sections of Ouachita Parish. Again, Alex is keeping an eye on the Wind Parish storm. We're going to bounce back and forth between both. Again, massive severe thunderstorm warnings in place for wind and hail, but then the tornadic potential is now our utmost concern. Both of these storms look particularly strong and relatively organized. I'll say that this radar swipe and this sample that we're seeing is a little bit more unclear than the earlier ones, but you can still see out of the Fort Polk radar, this is an earlier swipe. Again, we're looking in this area here, and now you'll hear all of the EAS alerts from our phones as the new tornado warning has been issued, and that's going to include, apparently it's going to include West Monroe, because we're getting the alerts here. But I'm waiting for that new warning polygon to pop up. In fact, I've probably already got the warning status message on the phone, so we'll go ahead and just read that across. With this new tornado warning that's going to be issued. There it is for Ouachita Parish. The new tornado warning still includes portions of Jackson and Caldwell Parish. It includes Ouachita Parish. This goes until 8:15. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 15 miles northwest of Columbia, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. Locations that are included within this warning: Monroe, Claiborne, West Monroe, Brownsville, Balcomville, Richwood, the Luna area, the Vixen communities, all included in this new tornado warning. So a lot of folks in Monroe and West Monroe are now getting the call to action as that first warning pops off the map and the new warning takes over. But a lot of folks along I-20 just got a lot of alerts letting them know about the tornado warning that's now moving into Ouachita Parish. Again, we'll keep an eye on this storm. We're going to keep a close eye on it, but we also have that tornado warning in Wind Parish. Alex has more on that. Let's go back to her very quickly.
Again, this is progressing northeastward, so it's impacting Parish Road 42, Collier Road, Gum Springs Road in the community of Atlanta, Whitford. We just got a new radar scan right there, so it's again progressing along the Gum Springs Road. If you are off towards the northeast of it, near Whitford or Sardis, near Porter Road, and eventually near Hatfield and Winfield, get into your safe place. If any of the road names that I'm saying is sounding familiar, call them, wake them up. Waterwell Road, as well as I believe that's Warsham Road as well. Black Mountain Road, those are all locations that are likely seeing a very strong wind gust right now, and that you need to be in your safe place. If you don't know where that is, interior room of whatever building you are in. If you are driving, pull over. You do not want to drive in this, and do not pull over under an overpass if you're watching this on your phone on our Facebook live stream. Also, on the note of any live stream that you're watching, it is likely that you are seeing a delay right now, up to 30 seconds at the maximum. You need to get into your safe place immediately when you see these warnings because of the delay that we are giving you over these live streams. You don't have time to sit there and grab extracurricular things. Get into your safe place, grab your shoes, grab a helmet if you need it, cover your head and get low. Regarding the location, again, Collier Road, it's passing that right now, passing Gum Springs Road into the Whitford community and near the Sardis community. It is just north of the Wheeling community, past Wheeling Road and Harrisonburg Road already. Again, 50 miles per hour. That is its speed that it is traveling. That is not the gust potentially associated with this couplet, and is a very defined couplet. We have most of them.
I think we're going to have another tornado warning kind of northeast of your area soon, and probably another warning with another rotating storm. Back to the Ouachita Parish storm. Again, we're going to kind of play ping pong with these storms. Alex is keeping an eye on the two different storms, or the storm that's moving through Wynn Parish. We have another area of development kind of near the Sykes community again. I'm looking off screen, and we'll let her handle that, and we'll get to it in just a minute. But here's our possible tornado now entering Ouachita Parish. This is southern Ouachita Parish, the Annabelle community. This is our area of concern. You can see Luna here, and now we're starting to move kind of into the southern sections of Ouachita Parish, and starting to eventually approach the Highway 165 corridor. For folks that are just joining us, again, I know we just probably got a lot of influx of folks from Ouachita Parish that just got the alerts on their phones. The tornado warning that's in effect for you folks goes until 8:15. It includes Monroe and West Monroe. Got to think downstream of these storms. Again, information you're getting, by the time you hear it, it's already late. It's already old information. We're bringing the information as quickly as possible, but we'd want to make sure that folks are aware that they need to be proactive today. You need to get to your safe place. Take this seriously. Stay there until the storm clears. This is my area of concern right now with this Ouachita Parish storm near the Cypress community. Again, here's Luna. I believe that says the Pam Duff Road area. Again, if I'm mispronouncing or saying wrong names, the words are kind of tough to see on the screen. We've got a lot of stuff going on. You can see the Goldsby Road area. And again, if these communities sound familiar, this is our possible tornado. This is our biggest area of concern. And I'll go ahead and put the traditional radar image that you would normally see on a normal daily basis over this. Again, very difficult to see this tornado. Even as the sun rises, I would urge you to take this storm very, very seriously. Don't try to observe it, see it outside as it moves and approaches Ouachita Parish. New tornado warning is now out. This is going to move in the same general area, unfortunately, for portions of Jackson and Caldwell parishes and northeastern Wynn Parish. I believe Alex has more on that.
Again, this is moving northeastward very, very quickly. It is moving at approximately 40 miles per hour, and you do not have time.
Pull your screen up just a little bit so folks can kind of see. There you go.
So where it's at, it's in the Newport community just south of the Hill community. It's already past Hickory Valley near Delaney Road in the community of Chester. It's headed towards Cotton Plant, and I believe that's Busby Road and in Cox Road. If you are in any of those locations, if that sounds familiar to you, think ahead, especially near Chester and Cotton Plant. It is already passing Delaney Road, and it's in the area of Newport off towards the northeast. It is going to potentially intersect with a pre-existing tornado warning. So areas that are in the northeast with that storm that Jared's been covering, you should have already been in your safe place. You just need to stay there now as this storm moves off towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Not only do we have this one, the one in Winfield, or just southwest of Winfield, has really picked up in its intensity in just the past radar scan. That is impacting the area of Whitford now. It is next Sardis, and that is passing the Gum Springs Road just north of the Atlanta community. It's still traveling northeastward at 50 miles per hour. So Winfield and Hatfield and Porter Road and Cedar Drive, if all of those roads sound familiar, get into your safe place. Whitford, you should have already been in your safe place. Sardis, you have not minutes, you have seconds to get there as well, as it continues to rush off towards northeast at 50 miles per hour. Safe places means anywhere that is away from exterior walls and windows. Put as much material, whether it is anything in the house, between you and outside as possible. Grab your shoes, grab whatever you need, and do it fast. Winfield, again, you are northeast of that. Get into your safe place, as well as Calvin, you are in that tornado warning as well. Back to the one that was just issued, again with this past radar scan. It has, again, tightened up its couplet. The community of Newport, Chester, and Cotton Plant and Hill. Those are the four communities that we're looking at right now. It's traveling off towards the northeast as well. Most of these storms will do that today. today. It has already passed Delaney Road. Jared.
All right, so again, very rapidly developing and rapidly moving thunderstorms, and to kind of bring everything back home with the tornado warnings that we have in place. Everybody, again, just kind of take a deep breath, and if you're in the path of these storms, get to your safe place. As Alex just mentioned, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. I know a lot of folks, when we have warnings out and in effect for areas, people tend to get a little bit frantic on our live streams, asking us to stay on their storm. We've got 3 different storms and potentially more out to the west. Those ones near Ruston are a little bit more concerning too. I don't know if they're rotating yet, and to be honest, we're just kind of tackling things as they go. We got a mess on our hands right now with all the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings as they've been issued. I'm going to switch over to the Fort Polk, Fort Johnson radar. Again, you can still see our areas of rotation. 1, 2, and then 3 to the southwest of Winfield. So Winfield, Monroe, West Monroe, all 3 pretty high population centers that all need to be in their shelters, in their safe places now, protecting yourself from potential flying debris. And again, we've been kind of barking at you for a while, so we just want to make sure that folks are where they're supposed to be as this possible tornado continues to. This area right here is my biggest concern, just now to the north of the Luna community and continuing to move off to the north and east. And now we're going to start getting closer to the Brownsville, Balcomville areas, Richwood, and interests along and south of Highway 165 here in the short term. I'll go ahead and tackle this Sykes storm, or this northeastern wind parish storm. And again, a reminder for folks that are in the path of the storm. You've already been kind of under 1 tornado warning already. This is our possible tornado, our area of concern as it moves off to the north and east. And again, we want folks sheltered, safe place. To the east of Newport, you're under the warning. Hill, Hickory Valley, I know the storm appears to be past you, but you're under the warning. Cotton Plant and the Chester communities as you move into western sections of Caldwell Parish. Again, a lot of these areas were under the original tornado warning that was issued that's now moved into Ouachita Parish. And for folks in Winfield, Alex is about to tackle this storm, but for folks in Winfield, you need to be sheltered now. You've got now probably 5 to 10 minutes-ish of lead time. Be in your safe places. Go ahead, Alex, with the latest on that storm.
Again, not only with this latest update and the latest scan, it has been trimmed back, but it's still headed towards the Winfield and Hatfield community. Union Hill, you're also not out of the woods, and hail has also been associated with this, up to a quarter size. Not only do we not want to go outside to try to find this tornado, we don't want you to go outside because there's hail as well. Stay indoors, stay in your safe place. If you need to turn this up louder on your TV, go sit in the bathroom, go sit in the hallway, do what you need to do to make sure that you are staying safe. The Hatfield community and the Winfield community is directly headed towards that area, off towards northeast, 50 miles per hour. That's the speed that it is traveling. That is not the estimated wind speeds within this area of rotation. Spillway Road and Mosley Drive are areas that will impact soon. Where it is currently impacting is Old Alexandria Road, Cedar Drive, Lovell Road, and Shady Acres, Spillway Road and Porter Road, Cedar Drive, near Winfield. It was last seen, again, just southwest of Winfield and is moving off towards the northeast. You do not have time to dilly-dally and grab things and get in your safe place. No, go to the bathroom, get away from the windows, grab what you need, wake up the kids, call the grandparents, make sure that everyone is awake and aware what's happening. Not only do we have this one just southwest of Winfield, it's going to head potentially towards Joyce and the Union Hill community. Ringwood, not also out of the question either. The one off towards the northeast, Jared just tackled it, just a new radar swipe there. Now northeast of Newport and headed towards Chester and Cotton Plant. Jared.
All right, and just a quick note, I know that and I don't want to get into too many events, but I know that the household hazardous waste event was supposed to start across the street at the Ike Hamilton Expo Center. That has been postponed till 1 p.m. So for folks that were going to try to brave the weather to get out and take part in that event, wait. Just wait till 1 p.m. We've received word that that's been delayed until then. So I just wanted to reiterate that, because again, it was getting set to start, and I didn't want folks to try to brave the weather thinking, well, this is my opportunity to get rid of stuff in the house, and it's just, again, not a good idea at this point. As we continue to monitor this area of rotation, this is, again, remains our area of concern, now well north of the Luna community, and now you're starting to get towards Summit and some of the areas as you move into southwestern sections, and now you can see Jonesboro Road and some of the areas as you get closer to Monroe, West Monroe proper, if you will. Again, I'm continuing to look off screen at Alex's storm, because we're going to bounce from storm to storm a lot here in the short term, just because I know a lot of folks, I think we're up to nearly 2,000 folks on the live stream, and folks are probably screaming, what about my area? What about this area? Quite frankly, at this point, if we are not mentioning your area, then that's probably a good thing. But there are several tornado warnings. You can see the hook, the structure of this storm that could foster a tornado. And if it continues to the north and east, you're starting to talk about Monroe and points eastward a little bit farther into the life cycle of this storm. So again, that tornado warning includes Monroe and West Monroe. So a higher population center is likely to be impacted pretty quickly with that storm. Here's our next one. Again, Alex is watching the Winfield storm, which is now essentially right along or west of Highway 80, along Highway 84 west of Winfield is where that potential tornado is. You can see it on the bottom left-hand side of my screen, perhaps if the crawl's not covering it up. But there's our other tornado, and I'm going to go in and try to go down as close to this one as possible. Again, you can see the cotton plant area, Honeycutt Road, Witten Road on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. You can see the Mount Pleasant community behind me, and this is our area of concern with this near the Chester community, the reds and greens that we talk about that combine together, that show a twisting of the winds. A look at the shear parameter, and again, anytime you start getting these bolder, brighter greens or even the maroons and yellows to pop up on screen, there's a pretty strong indicator of rotation out of the Fort Polk, Fort Johnson radar, again, whatever you want to call it. And the same thing goes for that Winfield storm. So let's go ahead and take Alex's screen and talk about that.
Again, for those of us that are just joining the live stream, all of the tornado warnings that we currently have are in the state of Louisiana, south of the I-20 corridor. The one that we're discussing right now is about to impact the Hatfield and Winfield communities. It's crossing 84 near Spillway Road and Mosley Road. The community of Carla, you are also directly northeast of that, so keep that in mind. You need to start thinking about where you are in relation to this. Mosley Drive and Spillway Road, it has just now crossed 84. It is impacting Mosley Drive now. It is just slightly to the west of Winfield, so Winfield may have not taken a direct impact from it. So Arkansas Street, Dunn Street, Leopard Road, and the community of Carla near Mosley Drive and Sanders Loop. If those all sound familiar to you, or if you're even nearby, this is in Wynn Parish. Get into your safe place. You should already be there. This warning has been issued for quite some time now. It will still be issued until 8:15. It is currently 8 a.m., so 15 more minutes. And there is a possibility that this storm and this warning will get extended off towards the northeast. So Thomas Mill Road, Cole Road, the community of Carla, and Mosley Drive. Those are all locations that need to be in your most interior room of whatever building you're in, away from windows, whether that's a bathroom, a closet, a hallway. Get there and get there now. If you're in Carla or near Winfield, you should already be there. It's already too late. Be there now. Mosley Drive, it should be crossing that fairly soon because the storm is moving at 50 miles per hour. It's a quick moving system, and a lot of these storms that we have seen today have been moving very, very quick. Not only do we have this one, but again, all of the other couplets that we're tracking here near Chester Road and Cotton Plant and just northeast of Chester is also a fairly defined couplet, and it's moving northeastward as well at roughly 45 to 50 miles per hour in some instances. So back to our Winfield one, that's the one we're mostly concerned about in this particular area. Moving past Mosley Drive, Carla, and Winfield is just to the west of it, moving northeast.
You're talking about maybe 2-3 miles from the junction of Highway 84 and 165 in that Winfield area. All right, let's go back to the Ouachita Parish storm. I know this is a really messy radar depiction, especially as we get closer to the radar site. Again, this is our area of concern, and for folks that are just wishing that I'd go back to the traditional radar screen, again, this is our area of concern near the Summit community, moving to the northeast. This is in southern or south central sections of Ouachita Parish. I'll take some of the information down as you get that latest swipe. It'll again be this area now northeast of the Summit community. Is that the Philippe Road area? I can't see that. Here's the Wilds community, Elkins Road, Jonesboro Road's right here. And again, and then you're starting to talk about Kings Lake Road, the Charmingdale community, and Charmingdale's about a 5-minute drive up down 165 from Richwood. You can see Richwood on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And when the lines start getting kind of more concentrated up here, you're starting to talk about the actual parts of Monroe and West Monroe near the I-20 corridor. So as I go back to the storm relative velocity, just kind of watching the winds and the possible rotation with this storm, getting a little bit tougher to see things, but again, just southeast of the Wilds community and continuing to carry off to the northeast. Again, a reminder of this active tornado warning that is in effect for portions of Ouachita Parish until 8:15. We've got about another 15 minutes on this storm. Again, for folks that are wanting us to stay there, I wish we could, but we've got other tornado warned storms that we need to get to. So we'll go back to the now northwestern Caldwell Parish storm. Our area of rotation not quite as distinct as it was earlier, but still seeing that shear parameter in northwestern sections of Caldwell Parish. This is west of Columbia. Columbia is right here, 165 here. So we're kind of in the far western reaches of the Caldwell Parish. And again, for folks along and north of Highway 84, west of Winfield, and in that junction of 165 and 84 in Winfield, please be sheltered. I cannot stress this enough. This is a very dangerous situation. And on that note, we have not had any confirmation of tornadoes. We don't have any radar confirmation or anything like that. But we're just kind of going by what we see on radar in these areas. And
we don't want you to go outside and try to confirm this yourself either. Stay sheltered.
Yeah, not a good idea to go out and try to see these storms. Now we're starting to see the heavy rain from this tornado-warned storm in Ouachita Parish, so it's going to get really, and to be honest, we've got to stay on our radar because I think it's just going to have the best vantage point of this storm as it moves through. I don't see as much, but again, it would be, I know I'm bouncing back and forth, folks, but this area right here is likely our biggest concern, east of the Wilds community and continuing to move off to the northeast. Here's Richwood, and you're starting, here's South Grand Street. I'm going to start moving real close to Monroe soon. Here's the Balcomville community. You can see Kings Lake Road, Jonesboro Road, out to the southwest side. Again, not necessarily seeing a lot, but we're getting into a really kind of tough radar spot in terms of the heavy rain that's impacting the radar site and what we can see from our vantage point. Fort Polk is giving us nothing in terms of what we can see in this area. I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this storm. We will go back. Let's go back to Alex, and she can give us more on that Wind Parish storm.
This storm now it is north of Winfield. This tornado warning is likely going to be extended past potentially Tan Hill and areas near Ringwood and Hudson, and just a notable road there, that's Jake Creel Road as well as Hatton Road. These areas have already been under tornado warnings, where it is currently, again, just southeast of the Tan Hill community near the community of Joyce. It's moving northeastward, so Tan Hill Road, Miller Road, and I believe Thomas Mill Road it is already passed. It's going northeast. It's hugging the very top portion of that polygon now, so it will likely be a new warning issued for that fairly shortly, which would then impact the community of Hudson. So if you are in the Hudson community, you need to start thinking about your safe place. You are not currently under a tornado warning, but it is very likely that you will be in the very short and near future. That's also near Jake Creel Road and areas near Sunset and Tan Hill Road. A few other areas to consider: is Tan Hill. This is just north of Winfield now. As well, it's along 167 and moving off towards northeast, so it should be just slightly towards the east of Dodson. But if you are in Dodson, think about where you're going to be, because storms can move within the polygon. They hug one side, they decide to go the opposite direction. That's why polygons are stretched outward like that. And here is the latest polygon that we just got issued, our newest tornado warning for Wynn Parish until 8:30 a.m. this morning. What we're looking for here is the speed as to which it is potentially going. It's also moving into Jackson Parish as well. And again, this is a quick moving system. It is just, again, until 8:30 a.m. It is now currently 8:07 a.m. So that just goes to show how fast it is expected to reach one end of the polygon to the other. And just reading where it's located right now, it's located 13 miles northwest of Clarks, or 12 miles northwest of Columbia, moving northeastward at 40 miles per hour. So a little bit slower than it originally was about 30 minutes ago. That doesn't mean you have more time. You need to get into your safe place, especially if you're in the Chatham community, because if it continues this warning, if it continues progressing northeastward, that's where it's going to go. So Dodson, the community near there, near Hudson, Hatton Road, you were already under a tornado warning earlier today. Jake Creel Road, I believe that's Hurricane Grove Road, the Sykes community, Hill community, and as well as the Gars Mill community and Holden Road. If that all sounds familiar to you, start getting into your safe place. You do not have a lot of time to get there, as this is a quick moving system, and they all have been so far today. Jared?
All right, thanks. Continuing to keep an eye on the tornado warned storm that's moving into Ouachita Parish, and you can see the storms that Alex was dealing with. So still some very vigorous rotation now north of Winfield for that new tornado warning that's in effect. As this storm continues to approach the Monroe area proper, and I know a lot of folks as they follow us on the live stream kind of get confused because we do zoom in quite far on some of these storms to get hyper specific. So we try to take the bird's eye view so you can get a better point of reference of where we are: Ouachita Parish, Caldwell, Jackson, and Wynn, as these storms continue to line up. Now let's try to go back to our radar swipe and take a closer look at the Ouachita Parish storm as the rain has stopped here at the West Monroe Studios, and perhaps we can get that better vantage point of this area of rotation as it now starts to move just looking, folks, just hang with me for a second. This area right here, yeah, right along the Ouachita River. We're getting some kind of contaminated samples as you move toward the radar site. This is our area right here, and as I correspond that with your traditional radar, you can kind of see that gap in the thunderstorm activity. I think that would be, and you could still also see an area of rotation that could create a tornado in this region near Richwood too. But from what I'm seeing in terms of radar artifacts, yeah, and it kind of coincides with what we're seeing from the National Weather Service in Shreveport, National Weather Service in Fort Polk, Fort Johnson, whatever you want to call it. Again, same general area. So we're in the right spot. And sometimes as a meteorologist, sometimes you just don't know. And so this storm is moving really close to the Richwood area. Here's the Deloach community. Here's South Grand Street. Here's Highway 165. There's a Charmingdale community. Here's our area of concern with a possible rotation east of Kings Lake Road. Again, we'll move right through Richwood if there is a tornado, or if a tornado is imminent. It looks to be moving toward Richwood and then east of Richwood, east of Monroe, or Monroe eastward is probably the better way to describe it. Again, Monroe, West Monroe, you're under this tornado warning, so make sure you stay sheltered. The warning is set to expire in about 5 minutes or so. I believe it goes until 8:15, yes. So we may need an additional warning downstream of this current warning, but again, it's still an area of concern near Richwood. I wish we could stay on that storm for the entire time, but we've got other storms that we need to get to. Still watching this area of concern across northwestern sections of Caldwell Parish. And again, to give you a bird's eye view, here's Columbia. Monroe's on the top part of your screen. Jonesboro Hodge to the left. Winfield to the left, bottom left. And there's our area of concern just west of Highway 165. Far northwestern reaches of Caldwell Parish. There's a lot of flashing red boxes. There's a lot of activity and just a lot of junk on the radar screen, for lack of a better term. I acknowledge that, and it's probably tough to see things, but there's our area of concern with a possible tornado as it carries off to the north and east, and then additionally still a very violent circulation to the northwest of the Ringwood area, east of Tannehill. That's the one that's the storm that Alex has been watching, and that perhaps is the most well-defined tornadic circulation out of all of what we're dealing with currently. So we'll go back over and take a closer look at that storm. Again, south of the Jake Creel Road area in south of the Hudson community. Go ahead, Alex.
Again, this is near the Jake Creel Road, Hudson, and if it's moving northeast, it's going to hit the Hatton Road area, the Sykes community, the Gars Mill community, as well as Holden Road. And the smaller roads here that we can get is Sunset, Brewer Road, I believe this is Leach Road, Jake Creel Road, and the community of Hudson. So if that all sounds familiar to you, we are just now moving out of the previous tornado warning. This is a new one that is issued until 8:30. So if you are at the bottom of the polygon, you should be in your safe place because that's where the other one already was. The Hatton Road area and the Hudson community, get into your safe place. There's again, Snow Road, Slaughter Road, Hammonds Road, Jake Creel Road, Brewer Road, all along the Hudson community, Welcome Home Road, as well as Hurricane Grove Road. Those are all smaller roads in this community. I know there's a lot of trees there. We do not want you to go out and see this. We want you to be in your safe place. This is one of the better looking couplets that we have right now. And we got a new radar scan. It's moving already past the eastern side of Hudson, so it will be impacting the main community of Hudson very, very shortly if it's moving at 40 miles per hour. Next up is Gars Mill in Sykes community. Hillier on the eastern side of the polygon is trekking right down the middle, but it could potentially move to either side of the polygon. So if you are within the warning box at all, get into your safe place. Regarding where it could potentially go afterwards, again, Young Road and I believe areas that have already been under a tornado or tornado warning today, like Gulf Crossing, Pleasant Hill, and Walker Road, the community of Walker themselves. Those are all those locations. So again, just back to where the couple is itself, Brewer Road, Sunset, Leach Road, and Jake Creel Road. Those are the immediate areas of impact near the community of Hudson. Moving northeastward, think about where you are in relation to this. This is in Wynn Parish, and it's moving off towards northeast, and that's going to impact Jackson Parish soon. It's moving past Winfield. Winfield, you are clear from this rotation, not clear for the rest of the day, but it will potentially be trimmed out of the tornado warning fairly shortly. So if you are in the Dodson community or know anyone east of Dodson, that is where the tornado warning is at. Gars Mill as well as Hatton Road, Jake Creel Road. Those are the main areas of impact as of right now. It's passing the Hudson community. If you know anyone in the Sykes community, wake them up. It is currently 8:14 a.m. People like to sleep in on Saturdays. I like to sleep in on Saturdays. So make sure that they are aware of what's happening. Folks may have not listened to the warnings that we've been giving you all week, and their weather alerts may not be on. Make sure that they are aware of what's happening because this is a quick moving system. By the time they wake up, it may be knocking at their door and it's too late. Get into an interior room of whatever building you're in, a hallway, a bathroom, a closet. Put as many doors and walls in between you and outside away from those windows. The latest update there, it is now past Jake Creel Road and past Hudson. It is near Hatton Road and is headed towards Sykes near Gars Mill Road. If any of those sound familiar, again, wake people up and get into your safe place. Jared.
All right, a lot of folks are probably about to get a new tornado warning alert across portions of eastern Ouachita Parish and northwestern Caldwell parishes. So from Monroe and points eastward, this is your new tornado warning, and it really includes kind of two different areas of circulation. And again, I'm just going to pull out the old cell phone and we'll just go ahead and read the exact alert status message as we have it from the National Weather Service. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 7 miles south of Richwood, 10 miles southeast of Brownsville, Balcomville, moving at 60 miles per hour. So again, there is still concern of a possible tornado developing. There's also this other tornado warn storm. So again, there's kind of a few different circulations of concern, and I think it's the southernmost edge of this circulation that is the most concerning. So while a possible tornado can't be ruled out in and around Richwood currently, the main focus of this new tornado warning is kind of a continuation of the storm that was crawling out of northwestern sections of Caldwell Parish. So it still includes Caldwell Parish, but it's this area right here moving to the northeast toward Monroe and Richwood and some of those surrounding areas again. So for Monroe and eastward, think about the Troop F headquarters out toward Pecanland Mall, out toward the Richland Parish line, out toward the Millhaven exit, and some of these areas in eastern sections of Ouachita Parish. Want to keep a close eye on this storm. This is your call to action. You probably should have been sheltered with that previous tornado warning. So this is your time to go and make sure that you're in your safe place, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Grab a helmet, grab a pillow, something that you can protect yourself from flying debris. Also often encourage folks to put on some shoes just in case the tornado does hit and you have to walk around after the fact. You're going to want to make sure that you keep your feet protected from anything that maybe could hurt yourself after storm damage moves through your area. So again, this point southeast of Richwood, I wouldn't necessarily say it is as well defined as it was earlier, but still an area that's going to have to be watched very closely as these storms continue to move through. And additionally, we're still watching this area across northern Caldwell Parish. Again, not quite as well defined as it was earlier, but these storms continue to kind of pulse up and down rather rapidly as they move off to the north and east. And again, you can still see that well-defined little hook appendage that could produce a tornado. But for folks Monroe eastward, you need to be sheltered. For folks in Ruston, keep an eye on this storm, and we have additional development in other areas as well that we need to continue to watch, and Alex has some of that pointed out currently.
We have a new tornado warning for LaSalle Parish as well as Caldwell Parish. This goes until 9 a.m. Currently, the area of
that includes Columbia.
And Columbia Parish as well. It is just east of 165. It is southeast of the community of Kelly, and where it is crossing right now, it's past Standard already, and it's already northeast of Alla. So I believe that's Hammock Road and other areas near John Henry Road as well as Douglas Road. Those are all areas where the rotation is on as of this exact moment. It is moving off towards the northeast and is moving again about 40 miles per hour. So according to the National Weather Service, it is 11 miles south of Columbia and 6 miles south of Clarks. If that sounds familiar to you, get into your safe place. It's moving into the northeastern direction. So if it's south of you or southeast of you, like in Clarks, like Copenhagen and Harlem and Hammock Road, those are all communities that need to start thinking ahead, getting into your safe place, because you do not have a lot of time to get there. Again, it's already past Bass Road and Longhorn Road, headed towards Hammock Road, John Henry Road. It's on there right now. I believe this is Valentine Road, and Grant Road is where it is going to impact next. If it's still hugging that eastern section of the polygon, it's actually hugging the western section of the polygon. So the community of Kelly and McKnight Road also get into your safe place. This is not the only warning that we're tracking. This couple does not look nearly as defined as the one that was just north of Winfield. We're going to switch over to Shreveport's radar for just a moment, and you can see just how bright those greens are. And what the greens and the reds mean, the green is wind moving towards the radar. The red is the wind moving away from the radar. It is just west of the Sykes community near Gars Mill Road. You should already be in your safe place. You should have been there a long time ago. And as this moves off towards the northeast, this will potentially impact the Young Road area, Temple Road, as well as the Pleasant Hill community all the way towards the top of the polygon. Womack, Mount Herron, and Gulf Crossing also included within this polygon. Back to the one that just got issued. Again, it's right along the 165 corridor, and it is moving northeastward near Harlem and Hammock Road, Gilbert Road, McKnight Road, just to the east of the Kelly community.
All right, so for folks that are just joining us on live streams and some of the surrounding and all other social media avenues, a pretty active morning is unfolding.
Again, we have all of the warnings that are currently being issued are in the state of Louisiana. We have 3 warnings right now, and they are all realistically south of the I-20 corridor, crossing potentially the I-20 corridor in the very near future, especially near the Monroe area. The original polygon that we were discussing near Winfield, this area of rotation is already halfway through the polygon. It is east of Dodson and potentially past the Sykes community already along Young Road and Temple Road just to the west of Hill. And then the second one that we have towards the south, it is near the Clarks and Grayson community just to the east of 165.
I'm just checking a couple of our different camera angles. The Tower Place camera looks out to the east, and was just checking to see what we can see, and there really isn't much. I was just making sure that we weren't missing something potentially with the tornado warned storm as it continues now kind of east of Monroe. There was that previous circulation that we were watching, and there's still some, for lack of a better term, kind of funny business going on with these storms as they move toward the I-20 corridor. The other area of rotation that we had, and yeah, I know I'm not joining you on screen. I'll be back there in just a second, but just kind of sitting here and controlling what we can see. There's still an area of rotation from other radar vantage points just to the east of 165, and then there's another area here. We're getting, again, in kind of an awkward point in terms of what we can see vantage point wise from our other radars beside our own. And there's also the instance where our radar is still dealing with some rain at times. Looking at the southernmost, the Caldwell Parish storm that includes Clarks and Grayson, as Alex just mentioned, this possible tornado is now east of Kelly, south of Hammock Road, moving to the northeast. And then we still also have the additional storm that moved out of Winfield that's now moving near Sykes, or kind of to the west of Sykes. Actually, it's right over Sykes, and continuing to move to the northeast as well. So there are still a lot of violent, potentially tornadic circulations and just dangerous thunderstorms across the area as you see what's unfolding. Here's a look at the live storm tracker Doppler radar, and those are the 3 tornado warnings. If we have not mentioned your area recently, that's a good thing. That means that you're not tornadic right now. That said, as we zoom out across, before I do that, let me turn the equipment back on, but as we zoom out across the rest of the region, I want to stress to folks as they continue to monitor the situation that there are a lot of large severe thunderstorm warnings that are also in effect across the area. And I know we have paid less and less attention to those, but just a reminder of the large severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect across southeastern Arkansas, north central Louisiana, and into southern Arkansas, including the potential for damaging wind gusts and large hail. There has been hail producing thunderstorms off and on through much of the morning. And again, these 3 tornado warned storms, eastern Ouachita Parish and northern Caldwell Parish until 8:45, northern LaSalle Parish and northeastern Caldwell Parish, or eastern Caldwell Parish, until 9, and then the Wynn and Jackson Parish tornado warning that goes until 8:30. So it's got about another 5 minutes on that storm, and it still has that rotating appendage back to the southwest. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't need a new severe or a new tornado warning with that, but we'll just kind of wait and see what the National Weather Service does. They got about another 5 minutes before they need to make a decision on that particular tornado warned storm. As we zoom back in to Ouachita Parish, also keep an eye on these little things, these little storms that are developing out ahead of this line. Anything that develops today and becomes mature in the environment has the potential of becoming severe and potentially producing tornadoes. Again, we're getting into kind of a very messy radar depiction near the radar site with some of the heavy rainfall and trying to sample what we're seeing. I'm still worried about this area east of Richwood that will move right along the parish line. There's still an area that could potentially rotate back to the south and west, although that's not looking quite as organized as it did earlier. and then obviously the other tornado warned storms in the area that Alex has been keeping a close eye on. I would think out of the 3 that we have right now, the 2 more concerning storms are 1 and 2. This storm's still a dangerous storm and could still produce a tornado, but a little bit more uncertainty in regards to how that storm is kind of interacting with the environment currently.
The best news I can probably give right now is that areas off towards our northwest are starting to get canceled early out of the tornado watch. So we are seeing some stability of the atmosphere off towards the west, but again, we are still mainly focusing on these tornado warnings that are active for the Arklamas as of right now, as well as multiples or one very, very large severe thunderstorm warning. The area that has the best rotation is near Temple Road and Young Road. It's just off towards the north of it. It's headed towards Sykes Highway as well as the northern extent of Hatton Road. Eventually this will impact Gulf Crossing and Pleasant Hill communities. And as it continues off towards the northeast, it has been pretty consistent in the middle of the polygon. So if you are past this polygon directly northeast of it, like in, I believe this is Browder Road and State Road 4, Burt Road, and even Mount Moriah, start thinking ahead of these polygons because of how quickly all of these systems have been moving, all of the cells have been moving. But again, Temple Road, Young Road, and just to move into a little bit more, I believe this is Starnes Road and Womack Road. Those all sound familiar to you? Safe place now. Lone Star Church Road as well. A new scan updated is still pretty much in the middle of the polygon, moving off towards the Sykes Highway and Hatton Road area as well, just to the southeast of Pleasant Hill. This is moving at 40 miles per hour, and just to move out.
Hey Alex, real quick, just the update on the Ouachita Parish storm, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 6 miles southeast of Swartz, moving northeast at 80 miles an hour. That is the current latest update regarding the tornadic thunderstorm that's moving through Ouachita Parish. And again, this is the storm that we're talking about. Again, capable of producing a tornado near Swartz, moving northeast at, just making sure I read that correctly, 80 miles an hour. That is rapid, folks. So again, if you were in the path of this storm, generally the possible tornado would essentially be right along I-20 or just to the north. And again, there's a pretty big mess in terms of storm activity in the eastern sections of the parish currently. But this storm is moving rather rapidly, and that is our area right there, just to the northeast of the Millhaven Road, Millhaven exit. Here's Green Road. This is the Monroe Regional Airport over here on the far left-hand side, and that is our area of concern, and that would be about 6 miles to the southeast of Swartz, because here's the Lakeshore community. And you can see there's Desert Street and Airport Avenue and the areas surrounding the airport. Here's Stubbs Vinson Road as you start moving towards Swartz. And there's the Roland Road area. So again, Swartz community. And here's and you can see Stubbs Ritchie Road, Sawyer Road. Here's Highway 80 as this possible tornado continues to move now north of the Green Road community. If these roads sound familiar, you need to be in your safe place. A lot of these areas have been under tornado warnings now for the better part of the last hour. And so we just want you to be in your safe place. A new tornado warning also issued. This is going to include, I would assume, West Monroe. It includes a good chunk of southwestern Ouachita Parish. The new tornado warning that has been issued downstream from that Wynn Parish storm. So now we've got an additional tornado warning to throw into the mix. This one goes probably until 9, if I had to guess, till 9 o'clock for portions of southern Ouachita Parish, eastern, southeastern Jackson Parish, northwestern Caldwell Parish. This is pretty much the third tornado warning for these same general areas over the last hour. And again, still watching the storm east of Columbia. There's a lot to watch right now. And so, again, we're taking these kind of broader perspective views at these storms just to kind of give the best views possible. Possible tornado east of Clarks will be moving close to Columbia. So you're talking the Swartz community in Ouachita Parish, Clarks, Columbia, and folks along Highway 165, areas north of Sykes, south southeastern sections of Jackson Parish, eventually toward Chatham and Eris, and then eventually toward Bosco and the Luna communities and all those areas all over again as that potential tornado moves off to the north and east. So it is, again, a jumbled mess surrounding Ouachita Parish, Caldwell Parish, Jackson Parish, Wynn Parish is at this hour as these clusters of storms continue to progress off to the northeast rather rapidly. The downstream threat, and now we're starting to pick up that area of rotation with this possible tornado here, and we're picking that up pretty low in the atmosphere too. So our radar's going to have the best look out of this storm out of all the radar vantage points that we have. Still watching that area of rotation. So I can essentially almost grab all three of these areas of rotation in one map just because they're all clustered so close together. So again, possible tornado east of Monroe near the Swartz community. There's possible tornado number 2 east of Clarkson, Columbia, moving northeast east of 165. There's possible tornado number 3 now north of Sykes into southeastern Jackson Parish moving to the northeast. So those are our 3 different circulations. We'll kind of bounce from one to the other over the next little bit. Alex has a look, I believe, is that the Wynn Parish storm?
Yes, it's just to the east of Pleasant Hill at this time. Again, it's moving northeastward at 50 miles per hour. It's not nearly as quick as the one near the Monroe region at 80 miles per hour, but regardless of how fast it's moving, you need to be in your safe place. These are quick moving storms, and that's why these polygons are so large. They're very extended, so you have more time if you are towards the end of it to get into your safe place. So areas like State Road 4, Birch Road, Camp Road, I believe this is Browder Road, just to the east of Pleasant Hill. You need to be where you need to be. You've had a lot of time to get there. And just switching to Shreveport's radar, again, it has not moved in the past scan, but it will move off towards the northeast. The areas that will be next impacted by this rotation in particular, Burt Road, Head Road, Mount Oliver Road, in the community of Vixen, as well as Annabelle, I believe, Cypress, and Luna. Luna has already been in a safe place or under a tornado warning multiple times today. This is nothing new. You know what to do, and you need to get into your safe place. Now, regarding the area of rotation itself, the couplet does not look quite as defined as it was about 10 minutes ago. It's likely going through a cycling. Also, it could be the particular angle and how far away the storm is from the various radars that we're using. I still believe that our radar has the best view of it regarding its reflectivity, and you can see that extending arm and this appendage there just south of Pleasant Hill. But when you go to Shreveport's velocity, that is where the couplet, as well as on Fort Johnson's radar, where the couplet is best seen. The greens are moving towards the radar, the red is moving away, and that mixing of the two colors, that is where we are starting to look for this area of rotation. Pleasant Hill, be in your safe place. It is impacting that area very, very shortly, as well as Browder Road and Hatton Road. It's moving off slightly to the west of it, but still you need to consider where you will be in the near future. Now, as far as off towards the northeast, it's going to eventually run back into I-165. And if you look at all 3 near the I-20 corridor, that's just northeast of Richwood, and also the third one that hasn't really looked robust in quite some time, it's near Columbia as of this time, and Bellevue. So if Columbia and Bellevue, those are your communities. It's just north of Copenhagen. As of this time, it's near Reed Road, where those greens and reds are mixing. Consider getting into your safe place. You should already be there when the warning is issued, but this storm is also moving off towards the northeast.
All right, so again, as we switch back and forth between different radar modes and different vantage points, again, to reset, we have 3 different tornado warnings, and all of them very, very close together. Still watching an area of elevated rotation in northeastern sections of Ouachita Parish, and just to get to that very quickly, that's going to be moving eventually into southern sections of Morehouse Parish, and now we're going to get into that that kind of handing off point, for lack of a better term, where the National Weather Service in Shreveport, their jurisdiction, their county warning area, whatever you want to call it, ends with Ouachita Parish. So now the National Weather Service in Jackson will take over from Morehouse and Richland parishes and points eastward. So this area right here is still an area of concern as it starts to move into the eastern sections of the parish. Just kind of giving you that the vantage point. Still at same general area we were talking about earlier, the Millhaven Estates area, but now let's think farther to the north and east. Let's think a little bit farther downstream, the Audubon Park and Hidden Oaks communities, the Sawyer Road area as well. You can see Gum Ridge and probably Oak Ridge up on the top right-hand side of my screen. That's in Morehouse Parish, as we start getting close to the parish line with that particular storm. For folks in Monroe and West Monroe that are thinking, okay, when this storm passes, we're probably done, right? Now you're already under another tornado warning in southern sections of Ouachita Parish. And for Monroe and West Monroe proper, you're gonna need to keep an eye on this one really close. Again, it is possibly tornadic to the southeast of Chatham. And you can see the area that we're talking about near the Browder Road area south of Highway 4. There's the Burt Road area. And again, a lot of these we've already said once or twice or numerous times because a lot of these areas, quite frankly, have already been under tornado warnings. Switch over. I'm going to go back over to the live storm tracker Doppler radar, which I think is probably going to have the best view of any of these storms. And yeah, there's the most robust area of rotation that we see from our radar is now east of Columbia, north of Highway 4, east of the Belleville community. So you can see Liddyville and some of the areas as you move, I believe that's into Richland Parish, actually it's Franklin Parish. I knew we were close to the Richland-Franklin Parish line. And so we're looking at a storm that also will eventually kind of cross into the National Weather Service in Jackson's County warning area as it advances off to the north and east. So we're about to get a new round of counties and parishes probably involved in some of this activity if these warnings are needed to be issued farther downstream for the current areas of rotation. Our radar is still picking up the rotation as it starts to crawl into southwestern Ouachita Parish. It is not quite as aggressive as it was earlier, but that storm has had a pretty long history of possibly producing a tornado, and this is one of those days that if you're under a warning, be sheltered. Don't look at the radar and go, oh, that's going to miss us to the east or the west or the south or whatever. Make sure that you're sheltered. You don't want to play games with these storms, and obviously the volatility of the atmosphere today, it won't take much to kind of aggravate these storms and get them rotating and creating some concerns in terms of possible tornadoes. Back to the live storm tracker Doppler radar, just kind of the broad view, and now you start seeing this area right here, you start seeing kind of a lining of areas of rotation, and so this is kind of lining up as almost a concentration of supercells that continues off to the east. So all of these areas ahead of this cluster across Morehouse and East Carroll and West Carroll parishes, you folks need to keep a real close eye on these storms. You're not under warnings currently, but you could be placed under a warning very shortly, especially for southern Morehouse Parish, depending on what's being decided with that storm. Looks like it's being replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning.
Specifically about the Ouachita Parish storm, we're seeing reports of potential power outages off of 165 and Sterlington Road. So it's obvious that at least the winds, if anything, regarding these storms are strong and potentially on the severe parameter. Specifically about the storm that we've been tracking near now Caldwell Parish and just towards the east of Chatham. This storm has had a couplet with it for quite a while now. It is impacting just towards the east of Mount Moriah, near Burt Road, Head Road, Mount Oliver Road, and this warning goes until 9 a.m. Currently it is 8:39 a.m. and also if you're watching the live stream or if you're at home, there is going to be a delay, so that's why these times are important to pay attention to. Make sure that you are getting into your safe place ahead of time because again, these storms are quickly moving, and that's not great to stick around and hang around your safe place. Regarding the one near Columbia, honestly, this couplet has relaxed a bit. It's not quite as tightly rotated as some of our other couplets that tornado warnings have been issued for. It is just to the east of the Bellevue community near Coop Road in Heber, and south of, I believe that's Heather Lane and Lawrence Road. If all of those roads sound familiar to you, that is where you need to be in your safe place. Regardless, if you are on any of those roads, if you're in the warning, you should be into your safe place. We'll repeat ourselves as many times as we need. That is the most interior portion of whatever building you are residing in, whether it be home, store, what have you. Get away from the walls and windows, because not only are we tracking the severe weather threat for tornadoes, but also these storms have been very efficient hail makers, and they will continue to potentially be for the rest of the day with the amount of moisture we have in the atmosphere. So again, near Bellevue Community, Paul Road, Coop Road, and just north of State Road 4 and the Reed Road community near Columbia. The latest scan has it moving off towards the northeast. That's closer to, I believe, the Abear community, as well as Coop Road and Heather Lane. That's approaching the northern portion of this polygon. Back to our other tornado warning that honestly looks the best again on our very own live storm tracker Doppler radar. And we can see that it has progressed about halfway through the polygon at this point. We can go back to Shreveport, and again, where this is at is the Ben Wink Road, as well as the Kilpatrick Road community. It is past Head Road and Mount Oliver Road. So the communities of Cypress and Luna, those areas have already been under tornado warnings today. Make sure that you are still in your safe place. We're starting to see areas that have storm fatigue. So just because it didn't impact you the first time the warning was issued doesn't mean that it won't happen again. Stay in your safe place until the warning is done, until the storm has passed you completely. Just because you think it is just to the west or just to the east of your community does not mean you're out of the woods yet. Again, an entire thunderstorm like this can have damaging winds associated with it and hail. Ben Wink Road, Cypress, and Luna communities, again, your safe place, as well as Mount Oliver Road. It's just towards north of it. Areas off towards the north of that, because it is traveling northeastward, that would be the community of Summit, McLean, and Logtown, I believe, as well. And if we go back to the other one near the Monroe area and along the I-20 corridor, now actually past 80, we can switch to our radar here. And it's a little bit close to the radar, but again, it looks north of 80 and near the Hidden Oaks community, Country Acres, Audubon Park, all of those communities. You should have been in your safe place already as well. Jared, do you have anything to add?
No, we're getting close to time where our Ouachita Parish, the northeasternmost Ouachita Parish tornado warning is set to expire in about 2 minutes. And to kind of clarify what's going on and to kind of try to make sense of how everything is unfolding across the region. As Alex just kind of mentioned, we've got storms that are starting to kind of outrun the polygons that they were associated with. This tornado warning in eastern Ouachita Parish, again, set to expire in just a few minutes at 8:45. That storm has already moved out, and it's already been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Richland and Franklin and Morehouse parishes to go along with it. Additionally, the storm in eastern Caldwell Parish has also generally started to move out of the warning polygon. Again, they're moving quickly. So this tornado warning storm is moving to kind of the northern extent of its polygon. This storm's completely outran its warning. And again, it's more of a damaging wind potential at this point anyway. So our primary focus now turns back toward the Jackson, Caldwell, Ouachita Parish kind of triple point, where we have this area right here. That would be our area of concern for a possible tornado. Making sure that I'm in the right spot. Yeah, right in this general area here. As this storm continues off to the north and east. Again, rather rapidly for folks in Richwood and Charmingdale and folks along Highway 165. you're essentially up next with this storm. And for folks downstream, Monroe, West Monroe, North Monroe, Swartz community again, all Monroe proper and all the areas surrounding, you got to keep an eye on this storm as it starts to move through. Now as we hit 8:45, that easternmost tornado warning in Ouachita Parish has been allowed to expire. And as we approach 9 o'clock, our Caldwell Parish storm, let's take a quick look at that just to see what, yeah, there's still an area that I think could potentially produce a tornado, but it's essentially kind of outrunning the warning polygon. So it's now moving into southern sections of Richland Parish. So for folks that are in the path of this storm, Richland Parish, keep a very close eye on this storm. You're not under a tornado warning yet. You may need to be under one soon. Here's our latest updated warning message. You can see it trimmed away. The Jackson and Caldwell parishes of this areas of this tornado warning. There's our possible tornado moving to the north and east. So hopefully that kind of cleans things up a little bit in terms of the radar map and what we're seeing across the region. As folks join us on live stream, if we're not talking about your community, consider that a good thing. And for folks that want us to zoom from storm to storm to storm, we're kind of driving the boat here, and we want to make sure that we're in the most serious areas, and we're trying to give as much equal time to each storm as possible as it allows, but also as conditions allow. As a circulation perhaps weakens, we move to another storm. We come back to it, we keep an eye on it, but we bounce around a lot as we watch these storms continue to thrive in our area. Back to the Ouachita Parish storm, and again, a reminder that Caldwell Parish warning, we may need a new tornado warning with that shortly, but this is our area of concern currently, and I don't want to get too overly hyper-specific. In fact, just very quickly, while we have the time, I actually want to go over to one of our camera views. The Thomas Road camera view actually looks out to the southwest. I don't think we're going to be able to see anything. It's way too much rain for us to see anything, and we're also looking well off to the southwest. You're trying to look 20 miles off to the southwest. That's just not going to happen, especially on a day like today. So here's our area that we're watching. I'm going to bring down all the buttons and everything here and zoom in as close. And now with the new radar swipe, you can see it even a little bit more clearly, moving generally just west of Highway 165. In fact, to give you a better point of reference and to let you know where 165 is, actually well west of 165. I'm getting kind of lost in my own map. Here's 165 here. We're in the southwestern sections of Ouachita Parish, and here's our possible tornado. Again, zooming in, this looks like the Charlie Griggs Road area. I believe that says Charlie Griggs Road. And so again, this is our possible tornado. Kind of this dead area right here, where it's just the light green, where there's lighter reflectivity. That's our current concern for a possible tornado in southern Ouachita Parish. So for folks in southern Ouachita Parish, you've been under a bevy of different tornado warnings here recently. And the Caldwell Parish tornado warning has also been canceled. So now we can go back to generally just focusing on the one tornado warned storm. A reminder of the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect across much of northeastern Louisiana as these storms progress eastward. Damaging wind and hail threats are the primary concerns there. And then as you take a look at the live storm tracker Doppler radar, again, we get a new scan every 60 seconds. And then every 10 minutes it'll calibrate, so it'll kind of disappear off the screen. But again, you can see those reds and greens near the Charlie Griggs Road area, and continuing to move off to the northeast. You can see Red Cut Road, Line Road. Here's Red Cut Road again. There's the Luna community. And this is our area, our biggest area of concern. You can see the Okaloosa community on the far left-hand side of your screen. You guys are in the warning, but kind of to the west of our current circulation. And it's back to the traditional radar screen. Radar beam was just about to head this direction, so you're about to see it swipe on through, and we'll get a new image. Still watching now east of Charlie Griggs Road. And again, as we echo this to you, by the time it gets to you in internet land or in TV land, we're already on probably a 30 or 40 second delay from whenever we've said it. So if you are east of the Charlie Griggs Road area, and as you move, I'm looking up here, this is the Philpott Road area. I think I said Philippe Road area. I got lost, but this is the Philpott Road area, Red Cut Road, Watson School Road, and that's the general area that this is headed, off to the north and east across southern sections of Ouachita Parish. For folks in Monroe and West Monroe, you're under the warning. Make sure that you stay sheltered and be aware of this storm as it starts to kind of knock on your door here in the next 15 to 20 minutes.
And if we look at other communities, that's Jonesboro Road, that's Summit, that community, as well as Line Road, Red Cut Road. We have been discussing these same communities over and over and over again. So again, storm fatigue is becoming a potential issue. Just because you didn't get impacted so and so the first time does not mean this time will be a miss. Again, you have to stay in your safe place when these warnings are issued for your area. So as we look at it from our area, from our radar, it's still for the Ouachita Parish area. This is Louisiana for those of you who are just joining our live stream. West of the I-165 corridor near the community of Summit, Jonesboro Road, and Red Cut Road, as well as Line Road. It's moving off towards the northeast very, very quickly. A lot of these storms are, and it's approaching our radar area where if it's raining really hard, it can get a little bit fuzzy. So I'm actually going to switch over to a different radar to potentially get a better view. And again, it's a little bit further off towards the southwest on a different radar, but we can still use that to our advantage because it's moving off towards northeast. So the community of Wilds, as well as Summit, Jonesboro Road, Red Cut Road, Line Road, if all of those communities sound familiar to you, you need to be in your safe place. If you don't know where that is, we've been saying it all day, it's the interior room of whatever building you are in, away from the exterior walls and any windows. These storms are moving very, very quickly, so it's impacting the area right now near Jonesboro Road, moving off towards the northeast. So that's the Richwood, Forest Oaks, Green Terrace, Lincoln Park communities, as well as Cobb. Keep that in mind. Balcomville, you are at the edge of the polygon towards northeast. Also start thinking ahead of where you need to go in the near future because of the quick moving nature of these storms. I'm going to jump back to our radar for just a moment to see if it has a different view on this. And again, it's fairly close to our radar. So the community of Wilds and Atkins Road, I believe that is, near Summit. Those are all communities that need to think about where they are right now. If you are not in your safe place, you are running out of time. You are already out of time, realistically, to be there.
And if you're wondering why the radar just looks like it kind of went bonkers in these last few scans, and you're going, what in the world happened? That's the rain that's moved back over the radar site. In fact, and I don't want to get into too much nerdy stuff right now when we have a tornado warning over the area, but just to kind of give you a vantage point, if the storm itself looks weaker on the radar screen that you're seeing, and you're probably thinking, oh man, this thing's kind of falling apart. That's not the case. This is our radar site right here over on Pavilion Road, right across the street from the Ike Hamilton Expo Center. And you can see that that blank circle is what's called the radar cone of silence. It's basically an area that we can't read immediately around the radar. But obviously the rain is moving right over the radar site, so it makes the whole storm look weaker than it actually is. I can assure you that this storm is still dumping a lot of heavy rainfall, and it has that tornadic potential along with it. This is the area that we would look at for a possible tornado. And it really could, it's a kind of a broad area within this supercellular structure where this storm could be producing a tornado. I'm going to switch over to a few different radar points, just acknowledging the fact that our radar is kind of struggling with the heavy rainfall. And you can still see this area of rotation here from the Fort Johnson radar, the Shreveport radar. It's kind of a little bit harder to pinpoint, but it's still there. And then when you go back to our live radar, again, still there as well, but there again, it's kind of almost essentially like some radar interference, if you will. Near the Linville community, this is moving toward that Jonesboro Road? Yeah, that's so it's moving right over Jonesboro Road. Here's the Caples Road area, kind of in the southwestern sections of Ouachita Parish as you move kind of out of the Brownsville-Balcomville communities. And there's our area of concern. When you put that back over a traditional radar screen, again, it kind of falls in line with the overall radar depiction of where a possible tornado would develop. So again, this is our lone tornado warning currently. We've dealt with close to a dozen over the last 4 hours or so, or really more over the last 2.5 hours or so, as the warnings became pretty fast and furious. This is the only one left for now, and for folks in Monroe and West Monroe, keep a close eye on this one. You've already been under a tornado warning once today. That storm kind of bypassed you to the east and moved through Richwood and then advanced off towards Swartz and kind of the eastern sections of the parish. This one is a little bit farther westward than the earlier one. So again, we get a new radar scan. My goodness. Check our live stream. Make sure we're even on the air at this point. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Director Justin just told us we were good. Everything in this studio, our screens in front of the camera and everything are kind of going haywire at this point. I didn't know if we lost the signal. That made me jump. That was something. Again, north of the Jonesboro Road area, as we get back, here's Caples Road. Here's our possible tornado. Just south of the Lemuel community, Elkins Road here. Here's the Wilds community and Kings Lake Road, which winds all the way through this area. You can see West Ouachita High School and the Cadeville area and all those spots over in the western sections of Ouachita Parish. You are currently not under this tornado warning. This is for folks farther eastward. And again, looking downstream, Monroe, West Monroe, you folks would be up next. And again, with this storm as it continues off to the north and east. And again, moving rather rapidly, generally in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range, I believe, with this particular storm as it moves off to the north and east.
I'm checking our radar loop to make sure that we still have the live radar in velocity. I believe you still have it, but I'm just checking everything.
Did we lose our radar?
I don't believe so. I'm just checking everything.
Okay. Let me switch back. We may have to turn it back on. Go ahead and take Alex's screen, and we'll try to figure out what's going on. Again,
I'm using the radar out of Shreveport. The area rotation is still there, it's just not as prominent. So areas in Westwood, Balcomville, Wilds, Lindwell, Edkins Road, Jonesboro Road, all of those locations sound familiar to you, then that is where you need to be in your safe place. This is a very complex system because of its positioning to our radar as well as other radars. And
I think it was the radar that actually took the lightning hit, to be honest with you. So yeah, we got to stay on the radar vantage points that we see. Our radar data that we could show you would be old at this point, and trying to establish connection with the radar, which is a building out across the way, and struggling to do so. Hopefully it boots back up, but I'm beginning to think, because of how everything reacted, that the radar may have taken the lightning strike at this point. So again, we'll just kind of roll with what we got, and hopefully it comes back up soon, but I'll let you go ahead and take this storm again. Brownsville, Balcomville, the Wilds community, Elkins Road, all those areas, be in your safe place.
This area of rotation, although it is not that defined on this particular radar image, it is about to outrun the polygon that has currently been issued for. This is only issued until 9 a.m. It is currently 8:58, so we have 2 minutes left of this warning. This is in Louisiana, in Ouachita Parish, near Balcomville, Brownsville, Westwood, and the community of Wilds, moving northeastward. So along Stella Street, Parkwood, eventually West Monroe, Monroe, Claiborne. If this tornado warning does not get extended, we are still going to see some pretty hefty winds, obviously lightning like we just experienced here at the West Monroe studios. And if the warning does not get extended, you can see that the KTVE KARD studios is right here, and here is our area of weak rotation. So Balcomville, Westwood, and Brownsville, those are the locations that need to be in your safe place with this suspected area of rotation. It is not super defined or prominent at this moment, but again, we are between radars, so it can be a bit harder to see for some areas. Just checking on velocity and the reflectivity. a lot of rainfall happening, which is can mess up radars in particular, especially if they are close to the rain. And again, Parkwood, Brownsville, Balkanville, and Westwood, those are the few areas right now that seem to have the bulk area of rotation.
That radar, that warning is set to expire at 9 a.m., which is now, and I believe it is going to be expired by the National Weather Service in Shreveport. The area of rotation does not appear to be producing a tornado at this time. And so with that, you know, we're going to see our last tornado. There goes our last tornado warning. And so let's reset for just a second. So we've got some other storms in the area. Back out to the south and west, out over Wynn Parish. I think a new severe thunderstorm warning is probably coming for that. And we've got other severe thunderstorm warnings elsewhere. A new one just popped up for portions of Ashley and Chico counties and East Carroll and West Carroll parishes. So
there are no active tornado warnings for the Arklamass. They are all severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, the main threat associated with them are going to be the damaging hail threat and damaging wind threat. Do you need to go outside and send us pictures of it? No, absolutely not. You should still treat it very seriously, just as you would a tornado warning. Stay inside, stay off the roads, because these have been very hail-heavy, producing thunderstorms as well as producing strong to damaging wind gusts. There are certain areas of the Arklamass, I believe along 165 and Sterlington Road, that's actually without power right now. So again, keep that in mind. You should treat these warnings just as you would any other tornado warning.
All right, so for folks that are seeing our radar screen, we do again have a few different severe thunderstorm warnings that are out in effect for the time being, but there are no active tornado warnings. I know that we started the morning without any warnings at all, and we did live coverage, and we told you it was kind of the exception to the rule in terms of bringing you severe weather coverage without tornado warnings. At this time, considering that we've been joining you for essentially almost 4 hours straight, we're in the process of ending our live stream here shortly, and we will also end our on-air coverage for twofold. One, so we can provide some intermediate updates in terms of our social media threads, and we can make some radar posts and kind of bring some other updates, some more intermittent updates. Two, to be honest with you, to give us a chance to kind of sit down and kind of to take a deep breath and eventually look at all these other storms, because there's still tornadic potential out there. If any additional tornado warnings are issued, we'll join you back on air and on our live stream as soon as those warnings are issued. But the third reason that we are going to go ahead and end the live stream where it sits right now is pretty sure